Yo, culture vultures. It's prominent, man.
Is that a thing? Is that really a thing? Like,
I think it's a bad. I think now it's been used so much, like that word that has probably been misused in a lot of places. But what do y'all think about? So recently, there was a clip of Grant Cardone speaking with, was it Laura Trump on Fox News?
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. Matter of fact, play that clip real quick.
So for us, about half my audience is black under the age of 40. How did a white guy attract an audience? Like if I'm out in public and I see a 55-year-old white man or a 25-year-old black kid, the black kid knows who I am. There's like there's a 10 times better chance, 10x, that the black kid knows me. Now, the reason is because we go after that audience and we're talking to them in very street terms, if you will, very not big nomenclature, vocabularies, you know, we just keep everything very tight and simple.
All right, so did y'all ever watch the clip or no?
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So what do y'all think about that clip? In the sense of like, be quiet. What do y'all think about that clip?
Well, I mean, I don't know if I'm a.
It's your opinion.
Yeah. I know. I study behavioral patterns. So by the time something actually comes out, hits the fan, blows up.
Been on that.
I come from a place where you don't have months and months and months to figure something out, man. Like I come from a place where you're gonna get your ass ate up, spit out, screwed over, and whatever in about 15 seconds. The streets in jail. Like if you don't figure it out in 29.9 seconds, you're gonna have a rough stay. So everything is behavioral patterns with anybody, people that work for you. You start to watch their behavior patterns changing. You get on them. You're starting to talk. Yeah, you know where this is about to go. Maybe not this week, maybe a month or two from now. But they're upset with you because you see the patterns already. You see them coming late. You see them taking breaks. You see them not being effective and efficient with the work, and you're on them now. But the blow up don't actually happen until 45 days from now. You know what I'm saying? But you've been seeing it coming because you study the behavioral patterns. Yo, Cardone is no different than a record exec. You know what I'm saying? At this point, all he's doing is doing what everybody else do. They see the ignorance, the naivety, the lack of knowledge, and say, this is the place in the space where people get the attention, and I need that attention from these people, and let me go to this person to get some of their attention, and here's how we do it. They like me. You know what I'm saying? And we use that, to our advantage. And this shit's been happening for it. It's the same play. The play been happening. It happens all over. Like, we watch it and we talk about it. We talk about it on here. We talk about why do we need some of these people anymore, right? But we just talk about it like, well, direct to consumer or whatever we talk about. But it's people that don't need their hands in the pot or don't need to be touching our shit. But we give them access to it. And I don't know, y'all could talk about it, but I just think that, like, I read Grant Cardone book 10X in like 2013 or something like that. Early on, 14, 13, somewhere around there, right? And I never had to go to any of his conferences. I never wanted to give him extra 10,000 or 5,000 or whatever because the information that I needed to get from Grant Cardone was free. And because I know who I am, right? And the way I rock, I grabbed that. I did what I needed to do with it. And you ever hear me say massive action? Remember I said Umi the other day? Yeah. Remember I delivered a crazy sermon on Umi and it was urgent, massive. The M part I got from the whole book. So that whole book, I took the M. You understand what I'm saying? The massive action from 10X. I took that from Grant Cardone. And I ain't had to get screwed over or none of that shit just from wanting a little bit of information that I knew I could get from him. The majority of our people they can't see these frauds coming. And I gotta say it, and I'm gonna say this one time: if you don't know what something look like, you won't be able to tell it when you see it. So I ain't fooled by somebody jet. I ain't fooled by this. No, I'm telling you, because he gonna come across your Instagram with his jet
and his helicopter.
Right? No, a word. Like you have never seen. You seen the stuff, right? Him and like I know. I don't like saying names and all this different types, but I don't with none of these motherfuckers. In every podcast, I actually have to say it. I did I tell you that last week? Did I say I'm gonna tell you that again? I don't fuck with none of y'all. But go ahead, big dog. Go ahead.
Right. What about you? I don't know. You probably don't even know who he is.
I know Grant Cardone. Oh. Yeah. I know Grant Cardone.
I wasn't saying it this way, but that ain't his world. You don't live in that world.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's interesting because would we be having this conversation if he were black?
That's a whole nother conversation, though.
Right? Will we be having that conversation? And so the thing that Grant Cardone said, first of all, nobody's ever gotten mad at someone for telling the truth, right? They might not like what they hear, but dude told the truth, right? So nobody ever got mad if somebody told the truth.
I think that's just a saying.
You might not like, no, that's facts. You won't be, nobody's ever said, why did you tell me the truth? You might not like the information you got.
Right,
but nobody's
You're right. So you mean to tell me you're not gonna get mad at a white person for calling you the N-word and they telling you the truth? I called you an N-word because I was brought up saying the N-word, and I believe all of you are the N-words.
I'm not mad that he told me the truth. I might not like what he said to me about being an N-word. There's two different things. That's all I'm saying. That's the only point I'm trying to make.
So the truth is you
slow down.
That's not the truth.
That's not what I'm saying. You're not listening. You're not listening. Your emotional intelligence right now. You're reacting. You're not responding.
I'm sending my daughter $150.
What I said was, no one has ever gotten mad at anyone if they told them the truth. They might not like the information. Okay. You're not listening. You're not listening.
You're right, bro. You're right.
If I tell you the truth, right? If you ask me a question, right?
Yeah.
I can tell you the truth, or I can tell you a lie, right? And the information that I give you, right, could be truthful, or the information that I give you could be that of a lie. Now, you're not going to be mad because I told you the truth. You're going to be mad because you didn't like what I said.
You're speaking for yourself, Rod.
No. If you say, Rod, do you like hats? And I go, no, I can't stand hats. That's the truth. Now, you don't like the fact that I say I can't stand hats. I know, slow down. If you slow down, you'll get it.
No, I understand what you're saying perfectly, bro.
What this got to do with Grant Cardone?
But listen, I'm trying to get there. I'm trying to get there.
We shouldn't be mad at him.
I didn't say that. Quit putting words.
We don't. No, my fault. We don't get mad at people for telling the truth. We get mad at.
So what I want,
is what he's saying is truthful.
Hold on. No, I'm not. No, I didn't. Let me finish.
All right, I'm just asking. I don't.
So Grant Cardone said that, right? So he said what he believes.
He said small
He said what he does. That he markets to young black people.
Which I don't believe is true that 50% of his audience is that, because it don't look like it at the shows.
At the show, yeah. So he markets to young black people, and he what he said, he has to talk street, right?
That's what he said.
So once you tell me that, now allow me to act accordingly. Right? So you tell me whatever you want to tell me that's truthful, that what you believe, what you think, how you move. And once you give me that, now let me act accordingly. Me getting mad, me yelling, me screaming, me coming back at Grant, that's not going to help anything. But now let me move accordingly based on the truth that you gave me. So now, should I ever support Grant Cardone again based on what he said? And my answer is absolutely not. Because your truth doesn't line up with my values. And that's all I was trying to get to.
So but to the
So now if we let him, he told us what his play was. If we continue to let him do that, then it's our fault.
So that's where I have the issue with the main thing. Like, Grant is who Grant is, right? And I'm not even going to go say that I personally don't know enough about Grant to be like he is racist or prejudiced towards black people in that sense, right? So I think he doesn't value us like we value ourselves and like, period. I don't think he does that because he wouldn't said what he said if he did. And so when you talk about who you're marketing to, that's a conversation of how you market to them. And so like, hey, look, 50% of my audience is white. I don't know if I do anything special, but you know, I don't know. Like he said it, but he said it in a way that where he said it at and who he said it to was also a big equation of the whole thing. But my big thing is he is who he is.
Right.
My big thing with the whole thing is that, and I have a unique position with this. I did a Grant Cardone interview, I think in 2021, late 2021, maybe 2022. I don't really remember. And at this point, Grant was contacting everybody that was a black influencer. No, not sorry. Let me back up. It wasn't anybody that had influence in the real estate world that had the younger audience. It was black, white. He reached out to everybody. And his team was like, hey, we want to do an interview. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do an interview. And I know that he's wanting to promote something that he has. And I get it. That's the currency that you have when you have a product or you have a platform, somebody wants to come on your platform to share what they have so they can benefit from it. I get that. But I told my team no because I wasn't interested in promoting what he had because I didn't feel like he had the best interest in heart. So my answer was
that's the other part to it. His intention.
Yeah, his intention was not. Yeah. I know his intent. I knew that what happens is prior to his new fund that he launched, it was all accredited investors. We want to stick a pin in that and talk about this a little bit later. But it was all accredited investor, meaning that you had to have a net worth of $1 million, I think, and not including your primary residence, and you had to, I think, or you had to make in $250,000 a year. Right. Is that right? Yep, it's been a while since I had to check that. So that is what calls you accredited. So you can't invest in these things because the government doesn't consider you intelligent enough or sophisticated enough financially to be able to make these decisions. So they just don't allow you. We'll talk about that in this topic too, which is so. He created this new fund, which is now I forget what it's called, but they got all these B's, A's, and C's type funds or whatever. But now the average Joe can invest in this fund because it's now went through the proper process of FC, whatever, just crap, right? Now the government says, all right, cool, you can go out and get money from anybody as long as it's $1,000 or more. Mm-hmm. And so now that he has that thing, he said, okay, I need to broaden my horizon because all these older white dudes with money that were giving me $250,000 checks, $500,000 checks, I've kind of dried up on those guys. Mm-hmm. And I need to go get people that really don't know who I am, but like that I have a jet, a mansion, penthouse, a helicopter, and then his team, right? And I believe his team behind him marketing is actually black folks. Don't quote me on it. I think I know exactly who it is, but I don't know for sure, so I'm not going to say their name. But if I was 100% sure, I would say their name. Right. So they're giving them direction on how to market to us in order to capture that audience. Because when you sit down and you draw an avatar for your company of who you want to go after, you draw 4 to 5 different people, and one of them had to be young black dude, and it's such and such that doesn't know much about investing but likes the flashy stuff. Cool, I'm gonna do that. Right. The problem that I had was I ended up doing an interview with him. Right. My brand manager at the time, she's a well-renowned TV journalist, broadcast journalist that is very savvy in these interviews. She's cutthroat. She knows how to, you know what I'm saying? She knows how to do it. She knows how to navigate, right? So she was trying to coach me up on how to get what I wanted out of the interview so it benefited me more than it benefited him. Gotcha. I did my stab at it. I think I did pretty good. They edited it down because some things that I didn't come off and say right. But I asked them the question, what about the people that are going to say you're just going after these black folks? And I asked him the question. This was like a year or two ago. I don't remember exactly when it was. And he was like, well, listen, it's kind of true. But the thing is that nobody else is going to serve you. You're not allowed to get in no other play because you're not accredited. I'm giving you an option to get into Class A play on a non-accredited status. Right? And I asked him a couple questions that I knew I wanted to know because I knew what you were doing. So he gave him his answer. I don't remember if I was satisfied with what he was doing. But he starts to do, what happens is we have a lot of black influencers in the education space that want to be close to somebody like him, maybe because they feel inefficient or want to learn from him or whatever their theory is. Yeah. But what happens is in order to get close to him, he's exchanging your audience to be able to get close to him. And there may be some monetary value where he pays you if you usher a certain amount of your group into the thing. I've got all those emails. Right. I've got my free 10X VIP tickets. I've got my invites to all these things. I got emails that never went because I just never felt aligned with his values. I don't know Grant personally. I just never, from what I can visually see, I never felt aligned. But what happens is he puts on a financial 10X thing. He invites the rappers. He invites the
Floyd
people.
Mayweather. And
all these people that we look up to in the community, right?
I don't look up to none of them niggas.
Majority. So I just speak in majority, right? Yeah. So I'm not talking about us or you particularly.
Yo, real quick, I be doing interviews and shit like that, and people be asking me who inspires you. That's why I be like, me. Yeah, I be like, I be serious as a motherfucker too.
Right. Lynch, you're a very unique individual.
Yeah, thank you.
Right. 100%. And so, but what I'm saying though is when I say community, I'm saying the majority of us do. So I only speak in majority, right? So because they know that we would attend a Rick Ross, if Rick Ross was there, we're more than likely to buy a ticket. If whoever was there, if Mayweather was there, we're more than likely to buy a ticket. So they use these people that we consider our influencers, our people that we look up to, and they use them to attract people to the crowd. Floyd gets paid, Rick Ross gets paid. That's part of their thing. They built their audience. Mm-hmm. But then we usher in the, hey, you can invest into this, you can do this, buy my program, all this stuff, right? And so the playbook comes from other black creators and people doing the same thing. So you can go to a real estate conference, a wealth building conference, all these type of things, and at the intermission is Meek Mill's, Rick Ross, you name the rapper, Snoop Dogg, they are there as entertainment for the crowd at a wealth, financial, real estate,
whatever,
blockchain. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Have you ever been to a technology conference before you sold your company that had Snoop Dogg at the end, or Rick Ross or Lil Wayne or anybody like that?
Never.
So it's a playbook play.
Right.
Yeah. So we showed them the play. We use that same play to manipulate our own people or attract our own people to come to this joint. They look at it, see how successful it is, and say, run the same play.
Yeah.
Rick Ross is going to come to my joint.
They did it in the what was that? What's that tier thing? They had
multi-level.
Big joint out of Greensboro. Company's out here, but it's a big joint, and they had like Fat Joe and Snoop Dogg.
Herbalife or something like that.
It was I forgot the name of it. Ameri or something.
Ameritrade, Ameriprise.
I don't know. But go ahead. But anyway,
you know what I did? I did go to an event, and Young Guru was there, but no.
Who's Young Guru?
Right.
Young Guru. The engineer. Yeah, right. But he's not that attraction. I bet that was a. Go ahead.
It was a what? I want to see what
I bet it was a more. I bet Young Guru that I know is more of an intellectual engineer that is behind a lot of the craft of Jay-Z. Yeah. So I'm pretty sure it was not
a tech conference about.
Okay, he was a tech conference, which he's a tech nerd.
So here's the big thing for me. If I had to boil it down, so people that look like me have been underserved and taken advantage of for hundreds of years. Hundreds of years. So for me, it's about the individual's intention. I don't care what your marketing strategy is, as long as your intention is to help people that look like me. And you can charge me for whatever you want to charge me, but are you intentional about moving the people that have been marginalized, the people that have been left out, the people who didn't get the head start? Are you intentional about moving them forward? If you're not, I have a problem. If you are, fine.
How do you know the intent?
My great grandma told me empty wagons make the most noise. So that's what it boils down to me.
I don't get that one. I mean, I get it in the perspective of that is joy, but I just don't know how to relate to what I just asked you.
With the empty wagons, they because they're empty. They have nothing in them. But if they're full, they don't make a lot of noise. So
understood.
People that make a ton of noise, So I don't know anything about Grant Cardone. I've never invested in any product. Never went to any event. I just know he said what he said, and I'm like, whoa, thank you. So now the thing that you're offering, can I find that somewhere else that I believe lines up with my values and that I believe is intentional about helping people that look like me?
I just, the only thing that is disheartening about this entire thing is that Grant was going to come up with a strategy to reach a new audience regardless. That's just marketing, okay?
It's marketing, right.
I understand that. The problem with it is that he was ushered in by a very select amount of group of black people that look like me, that teach other
You got cats defending them now.
Well, yeah, that's because it's a part of the paid product. They probably haven't been paid out yet from the last one.
They ain't get their check yet.
And I'm not saying that to be like, all I'm saying is you have to be careful.
I can't say nothing, but my bad.
All I'm saying is you got to be careful on who you bring to your audience. If your audience wants to go out and discover this person on their own, do so. And
I think you have a responsibility.
It is a responsibility.
It's like leading them to slaughter, right?
Yeah. And I'm not saying.
And mind you, there have been black people that have done the exact same thing that slaughtered other black people.
100%.
So again, it's not even really about black or white. It's about intention.
All I'm saying is if I get a phone call from, a very influential book writer, you get the same phone call, we come back here and meet and find out, we excited to tell all each other we just got something excited to say. We find out we all been called by the same guy. Do we sit back and be like, yo, we're being set up? Or yo, this don't look right? Or yo, this don't feel right? What you think the intent is? Right? And so if you go in there knowing the intent, right, you can still go to this Lion's Den.
Yeah, I think we've done that already.
Yeah,
we'll talk about that afterwards.
Yeah, you can still go into the Lion's Den knowing the intent, but what happens is when you bring your crowd with you, right, that doesn't know that you know the intent, and you don't check the intent,
right,
what happens is they become the product, the new eyes and the ears for this person. And if you only did it because your intent was to gain knowledge for self, to enrich self, then you didn't care about your audience to begin with.
At all.
Right. Which is tough because a lot of times we don't have that social responsibility anyway. When I say we, I mean the masses. The question I think is let's just say you're not connected to the rapper that goes to the event. Why are we attracted to, or why are we ready to sit and get this information from people like him? Is it because we have nobody that looks like us that's giving it out? Is it because we don't trust the people like us that's giving out this information? Why are so many of our people flocking there anyway? You understand what I'm saying? Like, why is that? Because they're marketed to?
Definitely because they're marketed to. We all fall victim of marketed. There's also a lack of people who look like us that make it in the first place. But then there's even a more rarity lack of people that make it that actually speak. I remember one of my mentors, rest in peace, Del Freeman, when I met him and I had to reach out to him, and he met me on the day before Christmas, and he inspired me and showed me some things I can't unsee. I said, you gotta go out and talk loud. Yeah. Bro, I'm having to seek you out. Your story is an aspiration to a lot of people that look like us. But what happens is a generation before us that did make it, they're very quiet, they just go chill. So no, we don't have many examples that want to talk about it because they see it as the brightest bird with the bird with the brightest feathers get shot first. That's the theory. So they just be quiet. They've been quiet.
But this is why we got to do our thing, though, man. Like, y'all can't keep brushing me off every time I say this shit. We have to do our thing. One, because, all right, you're the type of person that actually has the influence that is going to listen to, right? Then you bring in the other areas of expertise where they can get the well-roundedness, where you say, damn, they want to learn about real estate. They want to learn about financial literacy. They need to be sharper individually, you know what I mean? So they get all of these tools. But if we don't if we don't put this out there, if we don't become those people at least once a quarter or something like that, then we are just like everybody else, just talking about this shit and waiting for it to happen again, to talk about it again, about how stupid our people are, when we could actually help sharpen them up. So we gotta do something about this shit, you know what I mean? And that's the reason why the last joint I was like, yo, man, this is why we gotta partner with the LVRNs and all that stuff, because we gotta change the scope of the way this shit is done now, or else everybody else is just gonna keep leaving it up to the individual person to finally figure it out whenever they figure it out, if they figure it out, or they get again. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
So, you know, it's just, I just think we got to do something about it.
The other factor is the shiny thing, right?
Yeah. Well, what they dangling? What is the shiny thing?
If I show you the shiny thing, if I show you the car, if I show you the house, if I show you the, you know, whatever, the boat, then you believe I'm something, or you believe I'm the thing that, you know, you want to be like. So I think that's the other thing. That's the other element, that because we all know there are people walking around here mad wealthy that don't have any shiny things. Yeah. And then there are people walking around mad broke that have shiny things.
Yeah. So the dope part about it is that you know, we've got the lived experience in a lot of these different areas that we're talking about, and that's the reason why it transfers over into the real influence. Some of these other people that are on these podcasts and that are talking about why they're mad and stuff like that, they actually don't have the influence over the rappers that are flocking to the Grant Cardone, so they can't really do anything about what is transpired any fucking way. You understand what I'm saying? That's why you get a lot of those DMs from the people with the blue checks that are saying, hey, you know, I would love to, you know, woo, 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 because of the real life experience. So that makes you an influencer to the influencers, right? Well, you sent the video. Which one of y'all sent it? With the white dude with the curly hair to the group, and he was talking about the piglets and the pigs, and he actually sounded like you. His voice actually sounded like you, right? But check it out. Like, we've always, all of us, whatever demographic we tend to, you know, fall at or fall into for a specific time, we've always been influential in that demographic. And it's because when piglets are around pigs, they don't want to be like pigs because they're not supposed to be pigs. They're supposed to be boars. So we move like some other type of species, even though we look like something else. So people are attracted to that alpha thing or that extra thing. You know what I mean?
We need to play that clip real quick so people can kind of get context of what you was talking about.
The reason that there's such a void of male role models for young men is because we literally do not have adult males in our population anymore. What do I mean by that? There's no adult males. Like, there's grown men everywhere, but they're not actually physiologically adult human males. They're not. I'm going to teach you guys some fun shit. So in biology, there's this thing called neoteny. It's essentially an organism will retain juvenile traits as it ages if it doesn't get stressed out enough. Okay? If you live in an environment that's too easy, you don't actually develop adult characteristics. I noticed this when I was in high school. I grew up in a very affluent area. And when we went to our grad night, it was at Disneyland. And we went with a bunch of inner city schools. And everyone I was with realized that all of these kids looked like adults. They looked so much older than us. And so, because they were in a more stressful environment, which caused their adrenal glands to upregulate, which caused higher testosterone levels, which made them literally adults. Made them adults in a way that we were still juvenile. Every organism has multiple phenotypes it can have. All right, your phenotype's dictated by your genes, but what dictates which genes get expressed is your environment. The best example of this is pigs. So domesticated pigs, the pink ones that you all know and love, that's one phenotype. That's not even their healthy phenotype. You take a domesticated pig, you release it into the wild. After 6 months, you have a feral boar that has grown thick, curly hair and tusks. Why? Well, being in the stressful environment causes its adrenal glands to upregulate, increasing testosterone production, causing it to take on a different phenotype of a boar. Another example of this is with wolves and foxes. If you start to breed wolves and foxes and you select for more passive traits, their adrenal glands get smaller. As their adrenal glands get smaller, they develop floppy ears, curly hair, and spots, all things we find in domesticated dogs. All right? It's all based off the adrenal glands. Look at the population right now of adult men. What do we got? Men have never been fatter with lower testosterone. Men have never been fatter with lower testosterone. Those are both juvenile characteristics. It's because they're domesticated. Most people are domesticated. So why do men have all these juvenile characteristics? It's because people are domesticated animals now. Most human beings are domesticated animals, especially if you live in the United States. A domesticated animal is an animal fed by humans, taken care of by humans in order to get economic gain from them. What do you fucking idiots do all day? You just consume media, consume pills, consume food. You are domesticated livestock, and then you use your free time to then generate more labor and wealth for rich people. You're domesticated animals. The reason young men have no one to look up to is because a little piglet wouldn't look up to a pig. It wants to be a fucking boar. And all it sees around it's pigs. And it's like, I don't feel that in my heart. I feel like I'm a boar in here, but I have all these pigs in charge telling me that, don't worry, I'm definitely a piggy. It's all fucked.
All right, so yeah, so now they got context.
That shit is packed.
Facts.
That is loaded right there. They probably got to actually watch that again.
Over and over
again and get it. But you after you watch it, you actually get it. You say, wow, that's why I never really wanted to be like such and such. You know what I'm saying? And I knew on a certain level that I was stronger than that. I was better than that. I was bigger than that. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, it's definitely an interesting topic. It's marketing. I get it in this day and age. Do I think that Grant Cardone deserves some backlash for the words he used and how he used it and where he used it, who he's talking to? Absolutely.
Yeah. Listen, if he'd been talking about a certain community,
he would have got tore up.
He'd be done. Yeah. Done.
Yeah. Right? Which always goes back to my point, since we don't really got that togetherness, which we call culture. You know, we got vultures of our so-called culture, you know what I mean? But we don't really have culture or community like that. So we don't stick together to cancel a motherfucker.
Yeah, about Kyrie and us not standing up for Kyrie and not, defending.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
who said that?
You know,
Lynch was saying that.
Oh, okay.
We didn't.
I thought you said Grant said that. I ain't see this one. Play that clip.
Nah, you know, it's just that, Nipsey got a line in one of the songs. He's like, these songs just as spirituals I swim against the waves with, right? And these bars that we be talking and spitting is the things that they need to catch so that they can actually dive off the deep end without a life jacket, and they need to land on shore to everybody's amazement. Like, so we didn't go to Kyrie's aid, but now that he's like landing on his feet, we amazed. I'm not amazed. Like, I'm like, yo, nigga, I'll jump with you. That's why I'm like on the Adidas shit. That's why I'm like, nah, send me the Under Armour. Like, cause like, you know what I mean? I'm gonna swim against the waves. And I really believe that stuff. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know. It's all good. I just like, I love the fact that, and I know we switching lanes real quick, that Kyrie putting tape around the whole shoe. You know what I'm saying? I love the fact that because once these people start poaching and vulturing on what he woke now. Yeah. You know what I mean? He like, yo, nah, y'all ain't about to eat off of this joint. I'm gonna drop 50 in the tape joints. You know what I'm saying? That y'all ain't about to get it. And guess what? He put out a tweet. I'm gonna try to send it to you so you can put it up. And he was like, yo, if you bought joints in the past, I consider you family. You know, this is that, and the third, and you rocking with me. I don't know what the rest of the tweet said after that, but basically he letting y'all know that we gonna do this shit on our own, and I'm gonna need y'all support if y'all still rocking with me and shit like that. You know what I mean? Which is some dope shit. And that's the reason why I fuck with people like that. You know what I mean? Because they got an end game.
Makes a lot of sense. Yo, let's look at like what we were talking about before when we stuck a pin in that conversation about credited versus non-accredited. I just wanted to get this out there because maybe a lot of people know this. So in order to invest into certain things, early started companies, things that bring massive spikes, you have to be an accredited investor, which I said you had to have a net worth of $1 million, not including your primary residence, and or you have to make $250,000 a year. Right. So meaning that even if you were very disciplined and you saved $100,000 and you wanted to invest into an opportunity, they're legally not allowed to take your money. Mm-hmm. Which means that investing in this way that gives you the biggest jumps and gains, like for example, you couldn't invest in Facebook in the early stages, I believe. Not like in the angel round.
You mean pre-IPO?
Yeah, pre-IPO, unless you were credited.
Right.
Right. So you couldn't invest in the Google pre-IPO. You couldn't invest in a lot of these things because you're not an accredited investor. And that really has...
It's really unregistered securities. So if it's not a registered security, like let's say you say, which you can, you got to, register with certain people. You can say, I'm going to do a commercial real estate trust, and you can invest in this. If it's not, it doesn't have to be registered, right? But the people that give you money have to be an accredited investor.
Correct.
And it's $200,000 for an individual, and it's $300,000 for a couple.
Okay. Yeah.
Household. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
yearly. Yeah. Right. Annually. But if you make 100, right, and you saved your money over the last 5-10 years, and now you want to invest in something, you don't have the ability to do so.
Right.
They don't consider you sophisticated enough.
You're not supposed to take my money. Right.
Which means you leave out a lot of people to be able to have these high gains.
Right.
Which he went market to.
Because they in his fund, you don't have to have those.
Right.
So he's saying, I at least give you an opportunity that you can't even have because you can't even play with the big boys.
Right.
Right. But with any investment, you have to make sure that investment fits, your risk tolerance.
Yeah.
Right. You got to make sure it fits your, is it a part of your short-term, mid-term, or long-term goals? And you got to be willing to lose all the money.
Yeah.
Are you willing
Every
to lose?
piece of it.
Are you willing to lose all that money? Right.
Most of the stuff that you just named, though, the demographic that he's going after has no knowledge or plan in place for any of that. They don't have the short term, long term. They don't have the, you know what I mean? That's why they need the information.
They don't know what their risk tolerance is.
Exactly.
They say I'm aggressive, but if they lose 10% or if they're down 10%, they flip out.
Exactly.
Yeah, they say they have a long-term time horizon, which is 6 months, and that's not long-term at all. So that all those things need to come into play when you're considering any investment. So, I don't think those are the things that definitely are taught to that demographic, like you just said, that he's going after.
Especially not at that conference, in that room, in that short period of time.
Right. So,
So by the time you get there, you food.
Absolutely. When was Nixon president?
69, 68.
70 something.
Yeah.
16, maybe 69, 70. So Trump took a page out of his playbook where you just create fear, incite fear, and then you go get the people who are in the same condition as the people that look like us or similar and say you're better than them, Kind of like, back in the day when you had that whole, the slave community, you had, the slaves, and then you had the overseer. And the overseer was, a day away from being a slave, but it made them feel like, you got power because you riding around on a horse and you making sure that somebody look like me is picking the cotton. And then you stamp them with you're better than, right? And so I think Trump took a page out of his playbook. Do you think Grant took a page out of that same playbook in what he was trying to do? Or has done up to this point?
Yeah, once you you got to tap in.
Yeah, I haven't looked at it in that deep, nor I don't know the other reference that well.
Well, he's just saying tapping in by getting somebody that looks like you but doing a little bit better than you.
100%.
Yeah,
absolutely, 100%. I didn't even know that was a playbook by him, but yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a topic. I just wanted to touch on it because a lot of people were asking us about it, how we felt about it, and I more wanted to say a word to the people who are influencers to be careful, right? Because all things that glitter are not gold, and you may not be appreciated. I may understand you may be strategically going in the lion's den, but everybody else watching you don't know that, right? So you got to be careful who you bring somebody.
And man, with all you're getting, get understanding, right? So you got the influencer that says just do this, but if you're a part of that community, you better understand what's going on. Period. Right? So, because if you walk in blindly, is it your fault? I mean, is it their fault that they led you in?
Well, a lot of times the influencer is not even giving no context. The influencer might be going to do what they normally do.
Right.
The influencer might be at the conference to just do their rap, but you're buying the ticket to listen to his rap, but you wind up hearing more of the other rap, and at the end, it fits a need or desire or want that you have, so you make an emotional buy, and then, like I said, you food. But you got there because one of the highlights was one of your favorite rappers, you know what I'm saying, or whatever, you know what I mean?
I'm glad we ain't tricking nobody.
Like you. Yeah,
we're not tricking
it's all good. Yeah.
Gotta help.
Look, man, I'm glad we were able to talk about this. We got to get up out of here. But it's been dope, man.
Always.
As always.
I hope y'all learned something from it. If you did, press that like button, hit that subscribe button. Also, don't forget, if you're watching or listening somewhere on Pod World, give us a rating on Pod, because we need that love on the pod.
Yeah.
Pod ratings, right?
Yo, also, if you want more short topics, you know what I mean, like just knocked out real quick instead of 3 or 4 joints and an extra one a week or something like that, man, let us know. Write some comments and stuff like that, and let us know. Say, yo, we got a hot topic this week. We don't feel like waiting a whole week for us. We get more stuff like that, y'all. We're going to come to y'all more frequently. So hit us and let us know. And definitely like, subscribe, share, 5 stars, all that stuff. Do it. Yo, we'll holler at y'all the next one, man. I'm Lynch Hunt.
I'm Rod Brown.
And I'm Max Maxwell.
Peace.
We out.